I call Flick Drummond.
Thank you very much, Sir Mark, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship for the first time. Can I also thank the Honourable Lady, the Member for Battersea, and the Petition Committee for scheduling this debate. This is an important petition which has attracted many signatures from my Mearn Valley constituency and elsewhere in Hampshire, where we're fortunate to have some really strong colleges serving our students, although I actually don't have a sixth form college in my constituency, but constituents do go to my honourable friend's constituency in Winchester and other ones around. In this lead up to the debate, I've been contacted directly by student constituents who have concerns, and I'm pleased to speak on their behalf here too. In the post-COVID landscape, we must help students catch up, as well as ensure that education meets the changing needs of employers and the future life of young people. One thing I know is that employers look for is certainty. There's been an endless debate about the value of qualifications and how well qualifications relate to what employers need, which is why I wrote a paper on assessment nearly 2 years ago and why there's been 5 commissions since on the subject. And I'll come on to that later. In fact, tomorrow we're setting up an APPG on assessment if anybody's interested in joining. With BTEC, we have a proven qualification in many subjects which provides value to everyone, students and employers. Qualifications like BTEC are taken close to the point at which many students are likely to enter work. They're relatively more important than A-levels to young people who are not going to university, as they prepare well for work immediately, whereas university students have another 3 or 4 years before facing career-level employers for the first time after graduating. And I'm pleased that most universities do recognise BTECs as a mix of qualifications for entry to university. And I didn't know about T-levels, and I've looked it up, and you're absolutely right. Cambridge and Oxford are not accepting T-levels at this stage, but I do hope that might change. I welcome the intentions towards employability skills, which the government showed in bringing in T-levels, but where BTEC qualifications best fit the needs of students and employers, they should be retained. So let us take nursing and healthcare, for instance. All the medical bodies have said they're concerned about the impact of scrapping BTEC courses on their ability to recruit in future. Students who take BTECs go on to become support workers, but many go on to qualify as nurses, midwives or radiographers. NHS employers estimate that around a fifth of those studying for a nursing degree will have started out with a health and social care BTEC. At the same time, NHS bodies have doubts about the viability of replacement T-levels because it requires, as we've just heard, a 45-day work placement, which many employers will struggle to offer. And I know it's also a problem for people who want to go into medicine too. Trying to find some work experience is very difficult. Ending BTECs without having a suitable replacement will make it hard to recruit into these professions and others, including apprenticeships. So we must ensure that every route into these jobs is kept open. We should also look at the social impact of the proposed changes. We know from the Equalities Impact Assessment, which formed part of the government's response to the consultation, that removing BTECs will mean that some students do not attain a qualification at level 3. There is simply a commitment to mitigate against this with a higher quality level at level 2, and the outlined mitigations to support continued progression to level 3. Yet it's not clear what those mitigations will be, and the EIA is concerned about the uncertainty of the future approval criteria. I think honourable members will agree that to expect students to start on a path where neither they nor the government knows where it's going to lead is unacceptable, and which was very well articulated by my honourable friend for Taunton Dean. The EIA is clear that students from minority and more deprived backgrounds will be disproportionately affected by this, and it's not good enough to say we'll make a better level 2 for them. That is not how we advance social mobility. I think what this education should teach us, what this experience should teach us, is that the structure of senior educational assessment is becoming more confused, not less. We have A-levels for the academic strand, completely separate from vocational strands. T-levels do not provide learning in some subjects the same way as BTEC does. And we're proposing to end BTEC in general while retaining some specialist qualifications. So as I've mentioned before in my paper, which I wrote, it's really time to look at again how we structure education between 14 and 18 so that young people can work towards a range of qualifications which complement each other. And by that I mean education and vocational, all people able to do whichever strand they want to do, but at the same time. We should end the situation where young people take GCSEs, which are only a milestone in their education, before moving into confused offer of A-levels and T-levels, and other limited qualifications remain outside those after this review. And we do need a vocational path alongside T-levels. All the commissions that have published agree with me that our assessment system is no longer fit for purpose. One of the best innovations in education in decades has been the introduction of university technical colleges. Many of my constituents go to one in Portsmouth, and I'd love to have more surrounding my constituency because the demand for UTCs in Hampshire places outstrips supply. That is the right kind of environment for young people to take in a mixture of subjects and qualifications. By starting at 14, they avoid a jolt in their education at 16, although they do GCSEs. It's sort of a secondary thing. It's just something they have to get through rather than actually linking into what they want to do. Absolutely. My neighbour.
Making a very thoughtful speech. And of course, because in Hampshire we have a tertiary system where we have big sixth form colleges and very few sixth forms attached to state secondary schools, this is a very important element of choice that maintains that system that's worked well and served our county and our constituents for many, many years.
You're absolutely right, and that shouldn't stop a curriculum which starts at 14 to 18. It just means that you continue it in a different building, perhaps with a different uniform, but it's a way of progressing, and it is very easy to do. It shouldn't be a barrier to changing to a different sort of curriculum. It also means that you would have a much more coherent education as well. And then they'd be able to go into the workplace, further training or higher education, properly equipped with a wide range of experience. And when I'm talking about a bit like an English baccalaureate, but I don't think we should call it baccalaureate. And I've spoken about this many times, but I won't speak about it now. Employers, teachers and students in my constituency all tell me that we should have a meaningful reform of senior education, and I agree with them. The present situation with BTEC, as this petition emphasises, is one which must avoid happening again. Thank you, Sir Mark.
Hopkins.